Thanks for looking at this video of how to use Google Sheets and Google Forms for a Toastmasters International Contest. There are a lot of benefits of using Google Sheets and Google Forms instead of things like WhatsApp or email. Firstly, it's a really simple process that can really streamline the contest. It allows for standardization across clubs if lots of clubs are doing this, and it also allows for things to be auditable. So there's timestamps whenever forms come in, so you can see when it was actually sent, and also everybody who needs to have access will have access. If things are just WhatsApped or emailed to you, they can get lost in your inbox, and there isn't that sort of traceability or other people being able to see the information. Now, if you're like myself, you're probably in multiple clubs, you support area division contests. If you're emailing all the judges' ballots and the timer forms and all of the eligibility forms for the judges and the contest, you start looking at about 17 to 18 emails per contest. Most clubs run 2 contests per night, so that's about 35 emails per evening. If you're in multiple clubs and if you're in area and division, this can start talking up to like a good 100 emails per contest season, which does become really unmanageable. And especially if you're in WhatsApp, having 100 different WhatsApp groups set up for different contests, different things, really isn't a manageable way to do things. And it really does open up for human error. So you might send your judges' ballots to the wrong contest, the wrong person, the wrong day, the wrong area, which breaks that confidentiality. Lastly, using Google Sheets and Forms gives you one drive folder where all the information is held. It's all up to date, so you can't lose an email or accidentally delete it and not be able to find someone's eligibility form. It's all in one place. Now we're going to look at 2 things today. The first one is how to use this particular set of Google Forms in the contest. And once the context is set, we'll look at how to actually make the Google Forms and the Google Sheets. What we're going to look at first is how to use the Google Sheets and Google Forms in a competition, and this should put some context when you're making them. So firstly, log into your Google Drive. You should have it already, or it's really quick to make an account. And I like to put all my contests under different folders so that I've got one folder for each individual contest, date and club. In this example, I've used one called test. And what we'll see is we've got a contest eligibility form, a judge's eligibility form, so these are to be done before the contest and the briefing. And then for after the contest, you've got the judge's results and timekeeper form. Now, all 4 of these link into a Google Sheet so that the answers automatically come in. Once you've made your forms, very simply, you click the purple button at the top called Send, and you can either email this to people, so type an email address in, or you can copy the link. You can even make it shorter if it's easier, and then send this to people so that they can fill this in. And we'll give an example of this now. Quickly open the judges one. So I get this link, I copy it, and then if I go to a new tab, I can paste it straight in. So let's run this by as if I was actually a judge. You've got the contest information. We've managed to keep the form really short by putting all the information to the header, as this will only be used for this one type of contest. So it's a table topics club level contest at Heart of England club with a club number and the date. So all the contestant has to do is type in their name and say, yes, I tick this box to digitally sign it, and then they submit. It's the same for the contestant eligibility. You've got all the information. All this information comes from the normal standard PDF from Toastmasters International, and I would write in my name, click done, or click to digitally sign and submit. Now, as a chief judge or a contest chair, the contest chair can go into this tab, and you'll see that literally a minute ago, I said, this is my name as a contestant, and this is a box I will fill. If I was doing Humorous or International Speech, I would also add a box saying speech title. It's a really good way to collect these, and it would normally be on the eligibility form. Same for judges. I can see that again, just 1 minute ago, as a judge, I put this in. So as long as you email that out to your contestants before the contest or even in the briefing, get them to fill it in, that is all of your judging criteria available. Now, what do you do in the actual contest itself? So all the speeches have been given. The judges have been given 1 to 2 minutes to do their ballots. What I would do as a chief judge is I would get up this form, and there's one for the results and there's one for the timer. And I would open up again the same Excel or the same Google Sheets and open it up in a different tab called counter. And as chief judge, I'd go into a breakout room of counters and have this set up. So what's the judges' results and what's the counting? Now I'm going to do this in real time so you can see just how simple this is. And from a judge's point of view, this is the form that I've made. So what's their name? What is their first, second, and third point, and digital signature? I'm just going to quickly pull up the links that I've been sent. I've got my first judge's results form open. And I'm going to say, as the first judge, my judge's name is Tanya 1. The first place is Tom, second place is Harry, and third place is Laura. Now I've clicked submit, and you see that appear literally straight away. So I'll put that in as 2 other people. So this time it would be Tom, Laura, and Harry. That's submitted, that's appeared straight away, and we will do the final judge's ballot. And what's quite nice is when you're doing this on Zoom, you can actually see people's faces they're counting. Obviously, this is another reason why you would want to have the videos off so that you can't see them considering and thinking about what they're doing. Whilst this is happening, the timekeeper can be filling out their form, as we'll see now as I press submit. That was from a previous one. So I press submit, I can see that that one was from 20 minutes beforehand, before the contest finished. And if you needed to, if you did reuse these, you could just delete the row. You've still got the timestamp to say when it was done. So fantastic. You're in the breakout room with your counters and you've got all of your information. I would share my screen, put the 2 side by side, so we can see that the timekeeper said nobody was under or over, and there the time, so that's all good, no disqualifications. From a judge's point of view, you now have all the results come in, and there is another tab on here called counter. Again, as I said, I would normally put this on screen in the breakout rooms with the chief judge and the counters so that we can fill in this form together. And if you put the same sheet side by side, 2 internet windows, but on different tabs, it makes it really simple. So what you can do is you've got the contestants along the top, and as you'll see, this has been changed while making this video to make it, again, easier. These are really iterative processes where you're tweaking as you're going along to what best suits your club. And here we have the judges, and I can very quickly say that Judge Tanya 1 did Tom as first place, so that's 3 points, Harry as second place, and Laura as third place, which is 1 point. And you can keep filling these in as many times as you've got results and contestants until you come up with the answer, and all the chief judge and the counters agree that these are correct. Now I've got a sum at the bottom here, so like Excel, it just adds up the results, and it's really easy to see that Tom was first place, Harry was second place, and Laura was third place. Now what's really intuitive about Google Sheets is as I click enter, you can see it's saving, and now it is saved to OneDrive. So if somebody else who had access opened up this sheet, they would see what you've just typed in. And what it does is it gives you one overall file in Google Sheets, the right people with the right access can have, and it documents for traceability and auditability your judges and contestants' eligibility, the results for judges sent in, the results from a timer, and also for overall results and the placings. I also personally create a tab called Roller Breakout Rooms. So it would say who is the Zoom Master, contest chair, contestants and judges. And then this is really good for the Zoom Master to have an outline of at which point in the meeting do which people need to go into a breakout room. It can be really, really useful, again, to have it all in one place. And that's it for Google Forms and Google Sheets. This particular method and process and forms that have been set up, it means a lot less emails, a lot less WhatsApps, one source of truth for everything, that again, there's not different versions. And we found in our club that it gave a really smooth process for the paperwork in the contest. So next we're going to look at how to actually make in these forms. The really good thing about this is that once you've made a forms once, you can just copy and paste them into a new folder. So I've got a template folder here. If I select everything, then I could make a copy. And then with those copies, I could move them into a new folder. You just go up and say, make a new folder called contest or something like that. For this example, we're going to start from fresh. So I personally like to have a new folder. And what I'm finding is for each club contest, you have at least two, so international speech and evaluation or humour, speech and table topics. I'm also a member of multiple clubs and I could be at multiple levels. So I would put the club name there, like normally initials, so say NSS for New Street Speakers or HOE for Heart of England. I'd put the contest type and I'd also put the date. So very quickly I can see it is the Heart of England for table topics in the 20th in September 2020. So now that you've got your folder set up, it's really easy to make forms. Literally right-hand click and press Google Form and it will make a new form for you. Now I'm going to copy the information from my templates, but obviously you can make this your first time. So firstly is the form name. You write it into here and you'll see up here that it's saving, but the form name hasn't changed. If you click on it once, it will then put that form name in. What I found is if you copy it a couple of times, so again, I'm going to change this to club instead of Heart of England, it hasn't updated up here, so you just need to be aware of that. Something to remember when doing that, you don't get a lot of information here, which is why I'd say a couple of initials for your club, so HOE, TT contest, contestant eligibility. You want to be able to very quickly go in across the forms and see which one is which. So the next part is the description. Now, to make it a lot simpler for people, as I said before, I would pre-fill this information with table topic speech contest club. And I can put in here example club and then the date. This means that they don't have, the contestants and judges don't have to fill this, and it's also got good traceability. This information here has come directly off the PDF that you get for the contestant eligibility form. And then I will start asking questions. So to do that, you would literally click on the question, say contestant name, and Google Forms will automatically suggest what they feel is the best one. Here, we just want a short answer. Now you can see there's a plus button here for the next question. I'm just going to again copy this over. So the way around the signature that I found is ask the question, please tick this box to digitally sign the eligibility form. And then under the option, so this is going to be a checkbox because it means you have to check it. It says this will sign that you are eligible against the current rules for the, I'll change it to example club table topics on the, we'll change that to 29th of September 2020. So as the user, they can see that they are signing up to say, this is my name and I'm eligible for this club contest, this level, this type on this date. Up here, you can see the I button, so you can preview it. So that's all correct. Contestant name digitally, and that's perfect. What I personally like to do as well is give a different colour to each form so that I can really see what I'm doing. So in this example, we'll make the eligibility form red. What you will find is that it does take a second or two to update on the home page. So if I refreshed on here, you can see the colour hasn't changed, but when you go into it, it has changed. So it just does take a few minutes. And we'll continue to do that for the next 3 forms. So make a new form, let's copy off the template. So I've got my club form, I'll put the name in. We'll copy this blurb here. And again, we'll change it to an example club. We've got all the information from the form. We've got the judge's name. We've got this question, so we'll add a new question here. And then we'll copy this information. Contest. One other thing you might want to do is put required. So yes, they have to tick the digital box. Yes, they have to put their name. Again, we'll give this one a nice orange color so that it's distinctive, and that's that form completed. So those are the two forms that you would need for eligibility. The judges results form, again, is quite a simple one. So we'll copy it all over, club, get the name up there. And with this one, because this isn't a Toastmasters specific form, they don't actually have anything that currently exists. So I've just made it a bit obvious for collection of a table topics result for this contest. What we would want is the judge's name. Put it as required. And the best way that I found to do this, you could put in, please choose your first choice and put the list of each person's, each of the contestants, but that means it's a lot of administration your side to go in and change them. If the contestant names change, then you have to do that. So we opted to go for type in the full name, which again is what you would have normally on the ballot form. So type in the name of your second place winner. And as you can see, this has gone in the wrong order, so I can just rearrange. These. And finally, we'll have a third question, again, which has drag that. And then the final question that we've decided to put on here is, again, digital signature. It also means that people can't put in the results and accidentally send it before going over everything. And we'll put this as a checkbox for that and require it. And that is your judges form completed. So let's put this as a dark green on this one. It was a light green, actually. And then the last form we want would be a timekeeper's form. So you can see how quickly it is. Once you've got the idea of what you want to type out, it is very quick to just keep going in, especially if you're copy and pasting it, or say if you've made the first one, you can just copy and paste these for the humorous speech and then make little tweaks. So one of the questions we've decided to ask on the timekeeper form was anybody under or over? Now, Google will pre-suggest these, so you can have a yes and a no option. And multiple choice means that they can select multiple. We only want them to select yes or no, so we'll choose a checkbox there. And the final question we would want is the times. So we've asked them, please add the times, contestant's name equals time. So they would write Harry equals 2 minutes, for example. We want this to be a paragraph, so they can just keep on writing in there. And again, that's it. If you do want to duplicate any questions, the easiest way is just click duplicate and you can delete the question from here. Let's give this one a nice blue color this time. And that is all of your forms made. When we go back to Google Drive and click refresh, you can see the full forms are there. The colors aren't all updated yet, but they will be. So you've got the forms that you can give out to people. Now you need to collect the results. And what you want to do is when you go into each of the different forms, you've got questions at the top, and then you've got an area called responses. Now, the way you do this to connect it to a Google Sheet is there's a green button with white lines like a flag. So if you click create spreadsheet and you make a brand new spreadsheet for this, again, keep the name formatting in mind. I would say Club TT sheet. Very simple. And once you've created it, all the results from this will automatically go to this particular tab on this form. So I would rename this to say timer, very simply. And now any results that go into that Google form will drop onto this sheet. You want to do this for all of the different forms. So responses, click for spreadsheet, and then for all of them, select the existing spreadsheet. And when you do that, it will ask you which sheet do you want to go to. For me, it's the Club TT sheet that we've just made. We'll rename this contestant eligibility. We'll do this for the judges' eligibility as well. So go to responses, spreadsheet, select the existing spreadsheet. This one. There is now a new sheet, which is the judges' eligibility. And again, you can rearrange this just by dropping it left and right. And then our final sheet was the judges' results. So responses, little green button, select the existing spreadsheet and add it in. If you don't want to rename tabs, you don't have to. You can work out from here, but I do find it a lot easier. And what you'll find is this sheet is available in here. So if I double click it, it will open up this sheet. Now there are 2 additional tabs that I do like to add. And again, I will go back to my example form. We saw this earlier when it was how to make it. So the roles and the breakout rooms. And what I would do again, the first time you've made it, you need to tweak around with it. But from the second time, you can just copy and paste it in. So make a new one called role and breakout room and paste that. Unfortunately, it doesn't keep the width of the table when you do this, so you will just need to tweak it every time. But there you go, that's completed. And then one additional one called counter. Again, the first time you set this up, it will take a little bit of tweaking, but after that, you can just copy and paste it between sheets or completely copy the sheets. As I said, it doesn't keep the editing for you. And one of the reasons I am being a bit pedantic about the editing here is because I will do a share screen of both the judges' forms and the counters. So I do want it to be easily visible across them. The functions are pretty much the same as Excel, so you can make things wider or skinnier. There you can see it. So what we've got here, we've got the judges down the one side. We've got the contestants at the top, similar to the counting ballot you would normally have. Here I've put an equation, so it does a sum of this column here. And then that's the same across, so that when you change things in here, it automatically changes. And then there's just a line at the bottom, so you can easily put first, second, or third place. For each contest, obviously, you'd want to delete all the actual information so that you've got a fresh start. So now you have your judges and eligibility forms that have been set up, so they can be sent out in advance and then collected in the Google Sheet. On the night, you have your timekeepers form and your judges form for results to be sent in. And again, they will appear as we saw earlier in it, and you have one overall folder for absolutely everything. As we explained earlier, when you do actually want to send these out, if you go to the sheet and then you go to send, you can grab the link to it straight away. You can grab the link to it straight away. What I like to do for contest is grab the link of the 4 documents, put it either into an email to myself or into a Microsoft Word or Excel. So on the night, I've got all the links to one area, and then at the end, I can still, or during the briefings, I can send the links to all of the individual judges so that I can guarantee they've got the right link. Now with Google Sheets, you can go that step further and put access so that the contest chair can go into this sheet and see the contest eligibility forms, or the chief judge can see the timekeeper, contestant judges eligibility and judges results. I'm not going to go into that for this video, and there are a lot of resources online, but you can use it. One really important thing to know is that if you change the file name of the Google Sheets, then it will break the links with these 4 forms again. So you'd have to re-go in and set that. Also, if you do a copy and paste, so if I copied all these files and put them into a new folder, again, I would have to remake those links. The way that you would do that is to go into the form, go to responses, and you can't make a new link until the old one's removed. So you would go to the three little dots under responses and click on link form and link. It will say spreadsheet unlinked down here. If it doesn't, just keep redoing it. I mean, when you come to here, you will see select existing spreadsheet and you just remake the link again. Go to here. And a new link's been made. What you will find is that the old link is still here. So I can rename this timer 2, and I can get rid of the old one. Again, same way around with this. If I wanted to get rid of contestants eligibility, to say if I press delete, it would say that you can't because the sheet is linked to a form. So you would right-hand click on here, unlink the form, and then you can delete it. So you have to keep going back and forth. Do be aware of that. If you're ever unsure of if something is linked correctly, then you can go in, put in some responses in the form and see if it comes up on the sheet. So it's just a bit of a sanity check for you.